Okay. Hi, everybody. Um, I know there probably won't be a whole lot of people in here right now. It's my time. It's 5 in the morning. Um, so, but I wanted to share this information with you guys. Um, I seen this tonight, and I thought, "Hey, Justice Janie, how are you?" Anybody that watches Tend to Life? Um, she does a really good job, and this video is so full of information that it's really not right to not share it. And I'm gonna see, is there is it echoing? Let me see here. Let me check it. Okay. Okay. Let me see. Okay, let's see if it echoes. Okay, let's see if it echoes. Nope. Good. Okay. Well, I was wondering because I have my YouTube open. I don't know if anybody has seen this video yet, but it's about the shooting in, oh gosh, now the name of the place is escaping my mind. Uvalde? Shoot. Yeah, because when I was watching it when it first started happening, there was a lot of different. Hi, you guys. Hakuna Matata. You, okay. Well, I was going to play this a little. I'm going to play it a little on the fast side. So I didn't know how many people would be watching this, but it, it's like an hour, but I'm speeding it up. So and I'll start it at 2 minutes and 16 seconds, and I got to try to remember how to do this. Um, okay. Yeah, I might have to mute myself.
Salvador Ramos was an 18-year-old high school dropout who spent a lot of time on the internet and in various or really any friends. Some former students in Salvador's class said he was severe. Conversation where we talk about literally everything. We talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, the conspiracy. We talk about it all. So I hope you enjoy today's case coverage. And for everybody who is a returning 10 to lifer, welcome back. As always, I am so happy to have you guys here today. So today we are going to be talking about updates and all of the information that we have about the shooting in Uvalde, Texas. This is my second video regarding the tragedy in Uvalde, Texas, where a mass shooting took place at Robb Elementary School. The gunman ended up killing 19 students, 2 teachers, and wounding several others. And in that video, I went over the details that had just been released, but now we have so much more information on the timeline from that day and more updates to help us gain clarity and a little bit of understanding into this horrible, horrible event. Guys, I'm just going to warn you, this is going to be a long one because I think it's important to include as many details as possible to show respect for the families and the victims by making sure that their story is told and it's told in its entirety. I'm going to try my best to do that here by starting with going over the timeline again because there have been a lot of updates and corrections made as the investigation has gone further. We also have more information about the gunman and insight into the months and days leading up to this incident as well. And I'm sure as time goes on, there will be even more details to add or things that change. But this is the updated information that we have gathered so far. So guys, let's get right into it.
10 to Life with Elise starts right now.
On Tuesday, May 24th, just days before the students were let to be out for summer break, end-of-the-year activities were in full swing. And the last couple of days before summer starts are typically fun for students. There are end-of-the-year parties, award ceremonies, game days, yearbook signing, and talking with friends about your summer plans. The teachers are also counting down the hours until they can finally relax and get some much-needed and much-deserved R&R. Parents drop off their kids with all the confidence that their school will keep them safe and that they will pick them up and hear stories about the fun activities from that day. And that should have been the case for the students, teachers, and parents of Robb Elementary. But unfortunately, it did not turn out that way. In fact, it turned out to be one of the worst days in their lives. It would bring shock, heartbreak, and now anger and frustrations to the citizens of Uvalde, Texas, and the entire United States, and quite honestly, even the world. Salvador Ramos was an 18-year-old high school dropout who spent a lot of time on the internet and in various chat room apps from all over the world. In one of these app chat rooms, his personality earned him the nickname School Shooter. Even though this was a tongue-in-cheek joke between the people on the app, it didn't come from nowhere. Unfortunately, for the citizens of Uvalde, Texas, Salvador would live up to this nickname. He would conduct one of the worst school shootings in the United States that has ever been seen since the 2012 massacre at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Connecticut. But what actually happened that day? Could this have all been prevented, or at least could the carnage have been less extreme? In the spring of 2022, Salvador began chatting on one of his apps with a girl from Germany. They chatted frequently, and Salvador obviously developed feelings for this girl, because on Tuesday, May 24th at 11 a.m., he called her, and he told her that he loved her. After the call, the two texted some more, and Salvador told the girl that he was irritated with his grandmother for something related to his cell phone provider. 6 minutes later, he texted the girl, "I just shot my grandma in her head," followed by, "I'm gonna go shoot up an elementary school right now." The girl has been interviewed by authorities, and based on chat records, we can see that one day prior, on Monday, May 23rd, Salvador texted the girl that he had a package of ammunition and the bullets would expand when they struck someone. When she asked what he planned to do, he told her it was a surprise and just to wait for it. Almost as though he was playing some sort of weird game, trying to get her excited and saying, just wait for it, just wait for it. Maybe she thought he was bluffing, but still very alarming nonetheless. On that Tuesday morning at 11:20 a.m., a loud shot rang out and a man named Gilbert Gallegos, who lived directly across from Salvador and his grandparents, ran to the front yard to see what happened. He told officials that he saw Salvador speeding away in a gray pickup truck and that his grandmother, 66-year-old Celia Gonzalez, was running towards him, covered in blood and pleading for help. She said, "He shot me," referring to her grandson, Salvador. While Gilbert tried to help Celia, his wife called 911 to report what happened. Celia was airlifted to a hospital and was treated in serious condition from a gunshot wound that pierced her jaw and upper cheek. A bolo, or also known as a be on the lookout, was put out for Salvador Ramos, but he was already well on his way to his destination.
If I unmute myself, it will, when I play a video, it will usually make it echo. Okay. I'm kind of keeping track on my phone and trying to look at chat too. But I haven't heard the whole video yet. So I'll be reacting with you. Okay. I will try to leave. I'll leave myself unmuted, and if it starts to echo, just let me know. Okay. Okay. Now I need to be able to get up here. Shoot. What's this? No. I don't want that. Well, oh. No. Hmm. I can't move this thing. Okay. Well, let's see if I can make it go. Nope. Maybe up here. Oh, shit. That's her thing on the wall. Oh, man. I think I need to go get some new glasses. Shoot. See, I thought maybe I could drag this and move it because it's on this thing that I need. Where is it? Where's my thingy? Okay. Let's see. It's not gonna move it. Oh, I know. It's weird how this stuff. I don't know how to make that move. Shoot. I don't like. Is that gonna do anything? No. Let's see. Okay, we'll just do this. That works for me. We'll play. You're supposed to play. Uh, it's a bad day to quit smoking, huh? No, I'm kidding. Well, see, that's why I was doing this real early in the morning. I thought everybody'd be still, passed out from partying or whatever. Okay. Let's see. All right. Well, shoot. Okay, let's try this again.
The first step of his surprise was completed, but thankfully, his grandmother is currently in stable condition after undergoing surgery and will require a significant reconstructive surgery in the future. Salvador was speeding away from his house and heading towards his next target, a school close by called Robb Elementary. The faculty and students were enjoying their last Tuesday at school. Like most schools in the United States, the doors of Robb Elementary remained locked at all times as a cautionary measure. However, on security footage, we can see that at 11:27 a.m., a teacher who has not been identified uses something to prop open a door that leads to the outside of the school. It's not currently stated why, but it appears that she went to retrieve a cell phone. When she arrived back with the phone, the door remained propped open. Unbeknownst to her, an erratic predator was barreling towards the school and just crashed his vehicle in a ditch behind the campus.
When she's done explaining this, she in the bottom of her video, she has an explanation of updates also included with this video.
The adrenaline rushing through his veins, Salvador was driving wildly and ended up losing control of his grandmother's pickup truck. But since the crash was directly behind the school, his plan was undeterred. Two men working at the funeral home across the street heard this crash and were going to walk over to see what happened. And that's when they saw Salvador emerge from the pickup with a bag and an AR-15 style rifle. Salvador started shooting at the men, who were able to successfully run away and take cover in the back of the funeral home. The teacher who had propped open the door heard the shots and emerged for a moment before going back in and calling.
Okay, thank you for letting me know. See, that's why I gotta mute myself, but all I have to do is unmute myself if I need to make a comment somewhere, which I will. Ziggy just ended her makeup sale. Not too long. Oh, yeah, I know. I missed it. I actually slept and missed, I guess I missed a live Thursday night. Yeah, last night I went to bed, actually went to sleep at 8:30 and didn't wake up. I woke up at 6 o'clock this morning and went to the bathroom, smoked a cigarette, and then I went back to sleep till 11:30, and I woke up feeling really good. It's like, oh my gosh, I got some sleep. I've been staying up watching her and stuff, listening to Ziggy and everybody, and I don't know. My whole schedule's screwed up, and it's Ziggy's fault. No. Oh, no, I just tease her and tell her it's her fault. But yeah, I'm gonna catch the next one. That's for sure. Okay, I'm gonna mute myself so we can hear what she has really figured out a lot of information. Now, let me back her up, because she did say something just a minute ago that seemed pretty important. I gotta go back to my other screen, so I will find it. Oh, good. Thank you, Hakuna, because I was thinking I missed something. I thought, oh man, one night and I'm gonna be way behind.
Remained propped open. Unbeknownst Salvador. While Gilbert tried to help Celia, his wife called 911 to report what happened. Celia was airlifted to a hospital and was treated in serious condition from a gunshot wound that pierced her jaw and upper cheek. A bolo, or also known as a be on the lookout, was put out for Salvador Ramos, but he was already well on his way to his destination. The first step of his surprise was completed, but thankfully, his grandmother is currently in stable condition after undergoing surgery and will require a significant reconstructive surgery in the future. Salvador was speeding away from his house and heading towards his next target, a school close by called Robb Elementary. The faculty and students were enjoying their last Tuesday at school. Like most schools in the United States, the doors of Robb Elementary remained locked at all times as a cautionary measure. However, on security footage, we can see that at 11:27 a.m., a teacher who has not been identified uses something to prop open a door that leads to the outside of the school. It's not currently stated why, but it appears that she went to retrieve a cell phone. When she arrived back with the phone, the door remained propped open. Unbeknownst to her, an erratic predator was barreling towards the school and just crashed his vehicle in a ditch behind the campus. With adrenaline rushing through his veins, Salvador was driving wildly and ended up losing control of his grandmother's pickup truck. But since the crash was directly behind the school, his plan was undeterred. Two men working at the funeral home across the street heard this crash and were going to walk over to see what happened. And that's when they saw Salvador emerge from the pickup with a bag and an AR-15 style rifle. Salvador started shooting at the men, who were able to successfully run away and take cover in the back of the funeral home. The teacher who had propped open the door heard the shots and emerged for a moment before going back in and calling 911. However, the door remained open. Salvador continued to walk towards the school and climbed a fence to gain access into the parking lot. At this point, Salvador starts shooting at the exterior of the school. At 11:30 a.m., 911 receives a call about a crash and a man with a gun at the school. The U.S. Marshals receive a call for help from a Uvalde police officer, and U.S. Border Patrol reports getting a call around this time as well. In previous reports, it was said that Salvador encountered a school resource officer, but this was actually incorrect. The county only has a relatively small number of resource officers, and they go in between different schools each day. As it's being reported now, it just so happens that a resource officer was not on duty at Robb Elementary on this Tuesday. As Salvador was shooting at the school from the parking lot, police cars started whizzing past him and arrive at the funeral home. They were able to get there so quickly because the police station is just about 1 minute of a drive from the funeral home and from the school. Another officer sped toward a man behind the school who he believed to be the gunman, and he ended up actually passing right past Salvador, who was crouching behind some cars in the parking lot hiding. The man the officer sped toward was actually just a teacher. At 11:32 a.m., Salvador shot a few more rounds before making his way towards the door that was propped open by that teacher just minutes earlier. Only 5 minutes after he crashed the truck, he gained entrance inside.
I didn't mean to cut her out all the way, but okay, it's not echoing. Cool. The teacher that propped open the door, she said that she went to go get a cell phone, but actually, in the description in 10 to Life, the video that we're watching, it says that she actually was going out to get like cupcakes or something like that out of her car to take them for her kids in her class, and that's why the door, I guess, was unlocked that day, or she got unlocked it somehow. But I don't see why she used a rock to prop open the door when the door wasn't locked anyway. And when she went in and the door shut, it didn't lock. This is one of the issues that they're having at with this incident that happened. So I'm gonna see if I can go back to that. Okay.
Inside the school, and he began firing into two adjoining fourth grade classrooms, classrooms 111 and classroom 112. It then reported that he fired over 100 rounds into these rooms, which were connected in the middle by a restroom. A witness who lives across the street from the elementary school said that he saw the truck crash, saw Salvador enter the school, and saw police hesitate before entering in after him, even though shots could be heard coming from inside. A woman outside was screaming at them, "Go in there, go in there." And then finally, at 11:35, 3 police officers entered that same open door. More shots were heard coming from inside the classrooms, and several more officers gathered in the hallway. The officers didn't attempt to make entry, though, at this point, and were commanded by the lead officer on the scene to call for additional resources. They were requesting breaching equipment, shields, negotiators, all sorts of stuff. Then at 11:43 a.m., a post was made on Facebook from Robb Elementary and Uvalde police accounts saying that the school was under lockdown status and that the students and the staff were safe inside the building, which we now know was a complete lie. They asked the public to avoid the area, Now, during this time, a crowd started to form outside of the school. Witnesses say that they saw parents breaking windows in attempts to evacuate kids, to do anything to save these children. A group of 5 fathers were actually trying to get into the front door to rescue their children, but were told to get back. And one father said he witnessed police officers just standing outside waiting for shields for 15 to 20 minutes, while Salvador was inside the school with their children. Some parents started begging and pleading for the officers to do more, and some were even handcuffed, pepper sprayed, tackled, and even tasered for interfering with an investigation. No, they were just trying to save their children and save other children. 30 minutes later, officers had still not gained entry into the classroom where those shots had been fired. 30 minutes later. At 12:03, a student made a call to 911 from room 112. Whispering, she asks for help. As she was on the phone, more officers entered that hallway, which now had upward of 19 standing outside of that class. 7 minutes later, at 12:10 p.m., that same student called back to report that several students in the class were dead. Keeping the call short in fear of Salvador seeing her on her phone, she made 2 more calls to report that there were 8 or 9 students still alive. It's reported that several other students also made 911 calls during this time as well, pleading for help and pleading for police to come inside and save them. At 12:15, members of the Border Patrol Tactical Unit began to finally arrive at the school. Some were working in nearby areas, and some were off duty who raced to the scene after hearing what was going on. The Uvalde School District Police Chief, who was acting as commander during the shooting, told officers not to break into the classrooms, which were locked from the inside by Salvador. According to statements made in a press conference, he believed all of the students inside the classroom were dead, and at this point, it was a barricaded situation, and no...
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. He just assumes that all the kids on the other side of the door are gone. Wow. There's a lot of this shooting going on lately. And I said a long time ago, it's going to get worse. It's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. $80 Really? That's over an hour. Over an hour. I knew that something was up with this. And there were people that were lying about stuff. And I seen like this town meeting or something, and like the governor or the senator or somebody, the sheriff, some big high up person was having this man thrown out because he was asking a simple question. And I don't understand it. I really don't. I This is just too important to uh, not let everybody know what's going on. I mean, this is our kids. These are, oh, sad. So sad. I gotta mute myself. Is that not playing? I mean, is that not playing? Well, it is now. Let's see. No, I tried to change the layout several times. Let's see. Let me see here. Poor thing. I'm screwing up her. Screwing up her video. Shoot. Okay, let's try this one. But let's see. Maybe if I turn it down, it won't echo. And I can just leave that up. Let's see.
Other students have stated that Salvador was well aware that people didn't like him and that he would get into fights at school quite regularly. His TikTok profile stated, "Kids be scared," in quotes, and had photos of 2 assault rifles. There was a video also circulating of him holding up a dead cat while riding in a car, and another of him punching walls saying that he would fight anybody. On Instagram, he posted photos holding his gun and asked a girl who lives in another state to repost and share his photo. She stated that she was afraid of Salvador because he frequently tagged her in photos of guns, even though the two of them had never met. And the night before the shooting, he messaged her and said that he had a little secret he wanted to share with her and that he would tell her in the morning. But she told him she might be asleep. And she now says that she wishes she would have stayed awake so that she could have maybe tried to convince him not to go through with the shooting. Even though she would have had no way of knowing what he was going to do, and hindsight is, of course, 2020, I wish one of the students that knew him would have reported his behavior, or that the school maybe would have gotten him help after he was involved in so many fights at school. Schools aren't usually oblivious to students who seem to be loners or who have some sort of disturbing behaviors, especially ones that would cause other kids to think of him as the school shooter type, which is a quote that was used multiple times. And I mean, on the apps that Salvador spent time on, he said stuff like, "Some people deserve to be RAPED." And he would message girls on these apps, and if they didn't respond to him, he would then threaten them. He messaged one specific girl on Valentine's Day and told her that he would worship her. But then when she didn't reply in a timely manner, he told her to jump off a bridge. So, not necessarily the docile, innocent boy who was being bullied. He appeared to be an instigator.
He's a little nutty. Yeah. What do you think about that?
As well, and appeared to have a very horrible temper, obviously. And this also seems a lot like the shooter in Isla Vista, California in 2014, Elliot Rodger. Literally, the first thing that comes up when you search Elliot Rodger is incel. Elliot's rampage was brought on by misogynistic tendencies, and because he felt like even though he was a superior male, no woman would ever have sex with him. So he wanted to seek revenge on people considered conventionally attractive and who had lots of friends and girlfriends because he was essentially jealous of their life. And an incel is defined as a member of an online community of young men who consider themselves able to attract women sexually. And typically, they are associated with views that are hostile towards women and men who are sexually active. Being aggressive towards girls who didn't pay attention to him showed that Salvador had these tendencies as well. 2 girls who attended school with Salvador in the past described him as eerie after he dated one of their friends. The girls at school grew frightened of him because apparently during that relationship, he was unpredictable and violent towards their friend, to the point where she was scared for her life at times. He would go from being super sweet to screaming at her to sweet again. They said that
this sounds a lot like what we've been seeing lately with people.
Nobody wanted to date him after that, and when he was told no, he would try to fight anyone and was especially aggressive towards women. Other girls have reported that he harassed them on social media and that they were forced to block him because of his aggressive behavior that was just completely unprovoked. One boy said that there was actually an incident when Salvador showed up at the park where he was playing basketball and had cuts all over his face. When he asked him what happened, Salvador said he cut himself for fun. So even though it's true that he was a loner of sorts, these students said it wasn't from a lack of people giving him a chance. He scared people away, and he apparently was actually the bully. The few kids that did get somewhat close to him described him as pushy, and once again used that word aggressive. He didn't have friends because kids were mean, it was because he was mean, and because his peers were afraid of him. Most recently, Salvador was really upset that he wasn't going to be able to graduate with his class. While some reports say that he was a dropout, students have stated that they actually saw him at school as recently as this past April. Maybe he was struggling with grades, and that's why he decided to drop out, since he wouldn't be.
Okay. Why is this video not playing? This is crazy. Okay. Now I gotta share it all over again. That's wonderful. Okay. Let me screw this up. Hmm. Uh-oh. Did I lose it? See, I need lessons. Son of a biatch. There's the video on my side. Um, yeah, but I don't want to share all that crap. Yeah.
Be able to graduate anyway. So as we can see, there were definitely clear warning signs. And in hindsight, it's easy to see that some sort of diversion could have happened when he was attending school, especially if he was attending as recently as 1 month prior to the shooting. And his parents obviously saw a problem with their son because it's reported that he was living with his grandparents due to conflicts in the home with his mother. I highly doubt that they didn't see anything off about their son. While his father has said that Salvador was a quiet kid, both his parents say they don't know what would have made him do something like this. His grandfather said that he and his wife took him out to eat for his 18th birthday and that they had a nice time and that he seemed happy. So he did have some sort of support system and people who loved him. His grandfather also said that he was unaware of Salvador purchasing the weapons and that they wouldn't have been allowed in his home. His grandfather has a previous felony that prohibits him, actually, from having guns in his residence. So Salvador...
Here in a minute, we will see Salvador, I guess the grandfather, talking about his grandson. And I was wondering if this was playing right or if it was, if it was echoing. But I guess it seems like it's doing okay. Okay, here we go.
Did this under the grandparents' noses.
Will you spend a lot of time in his room alone?
Yes. Sometimes he would go take him to work with me. Not all the time, but I would take him to work.
And it didn't seem like you went to school very often.
No, well, this past year he didn't go to school. He didn't graduate, but he didn't go to school.
Why?
I don't know. You tell them, and they think they know kids nowadays. They know everything.
Did you notice that he was growing disturbed? Was he becoming upset? Was
He was very quiet. He was very quiet.
Everybody says he almost didn't talk very much.
No, he didn't talk very much.
Did he talk to you?
No, just when we go to work or here or there, But very, very, very seldom.
What kind of things would you talk about?
No, we never did have a conversation. I remember he would tell me sometimes. I remember when I was little, I would carry him, and he would tell me things like that.
Why didn't he live with his mother?
They had probably problems or something.
And so it was his birthday last Monday? Turned 18?
Yeah, on the
16th
or something. Yeah, last week I think it was.
Yeah.
My wife took him to Applebee's to eat supper or dinner or whatever. It's the same.
Did you know that he bought those weapons?
No. Like I said, I don't like weapons. I cannot be around weapons.
Because you have a record.
Yeah.
And it's illegal for you to actually be around them.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for letting me know. I don't know I'm doing that great, but it's the information she gets and the way she presents it is just really, I think she does a great job. And I'm not really completely believing in this grandfather. I don't know why.
Cannot be around guns. I hate when I see all the news, all those people that get shot. I'm against all that. I said, why do they let these people buy guns and all that? Those stupid whatever they shoot.
And Rolando, when you heard about the shooting, what did you do? Did you even know that it was your grandson?
No, the neighbor called me. He told me she had been shot. And when I came over here, he told me that he had taken off on the...
And your grandson didn't have a driver's license, right?
No.
He didn't even know how to drive.
No.
What went through your mind when you heard?
I didn't say nothing. It still has something in there.
And so did he ever talk about guns or weapons with you? Did he talk about being upset or angry?
No.
Saying it came out of the blue. If you could have done anything differently,
Oh,
I
didn't know he had weapons or nothing or this or that. If I would have known, I would have reported him.
you would have reported your own grandson.
Yes. Because I'm against all that.
This just shows how important it is to actually dig deep in your children's lives and to have those conversations that aren't just surface level. As parents and guardians, we need to actually ask our kids how they are feeling, what they are going through, what's going on, especially if you see your child is isolating themselves, seeming aggressive, depressed, angry, or anything like that, or anything that could be deemed abnormal. It's our duty to get them help.
anything that is not like their personality, even when they go through phases. When I raised my kids, we had a open type of relationship where we could talk, and I was always honest with my kids. I didn't lie to my kids. I told my kids the truth, and that's how I raised them. But I explained things at their level where they could understand. And I think having that line of communication is really important. Not that my kids didn't do bad things sometimes, because they all do.
Just like in the recent shooting with Ethan Crumbley, the exact same thing. The boy was disturbed, he was showing signs of depression, and his parents knew it, but they did nothing. In pretty much every shooting case, there is at least some warning sign. As you can imagine, due to the lack of police intervention, the community of Uvalde is outraged and wants answers. The U.S. government announced on Sunday, May 29th, that there is going to be a federal investigation into the police response, or lack thereof, of police response at this shooting. This was after Friday when Stephen McCraw, head of the Texas Department of Public Safety, admitted that waiting and not storming the classroom where Salvador was immediately was the wrong decision. To which I obviously say, hello, clearly, hello, you had 19 men, you couldn't storm the door sooner. And he said that it doesn't seem that the protocols were followed. So Texas active shooter protocols state that the police are to confront the attacker immediately. It's unclear why the commander on the scene, Pete Arredondo, made the decision to leave him in the room with those children for so long. However, his neighbor stated that he is a coward who is hiding in his home, he didn't do his job, and he failed those children. He is having PD guard his home day and night. He should come out and speak up. And I 100% agree with that statement. In my opinion, he needs to be forced out of his house to speak on his decisions from that day and give some answers to these grieving parents. In what world would it make sense to not immediately knock down the door and kill Salvador? How could he know that all of the students inside were dead and that there wasn't anyone else for Salvador to kill or for them to save? There would literally be no way to know that. And also, there were students on the phone with 911. Was 911 not communicating with the police on the ground? I highly doubt it. And I'm sorry if I sound angry right now, guys, but that's because I am. It's just obvious that by holding officers back, more children died in that room. Deaths that could have been prevented. And who knows, had they stormed the room, not only could lives have been saved, but maybe the shootout wouldn't have taken place because maybe Salvador would have been overpowered, and then maybe he would actually have to face time for these crimes and answer and get some justice here. But that's now gone, and that is no longer an option. Texas Senator Ronald Gutierrez, who represents Uvalde, said that even though everyone failed these children, responsibility should not be placed on one officer. That is complete crap. If it's the officer who's making the call, they should have blame put on them. Absolutely. I get what he's saying, like there needs to be stricter gun laws and more done at the school and on a political level, but we are talking about this shooting in this moment right now. That commander is the...
There always has to be someone in charge of everything. Whether it's where you work, there's always a supervisor, there's always a higher up. And I used to be at one time a higher up. I was head of a bakery department for many, many years. I did all kinds of merchandising, and I mean, that was the best job I ever had. In every sense of the word. But I was responsible for my department, and it didn't matter if it was something I did or something someone else did. I still got blamed. And what we always said was shit rolls downhill. So somebody has to take the fall. Was it this guy that she's talking about that was in charge? If so, yes, he needs to come out of his house and quit hiding. And don't try to blow smoke up our butts. We want the truth to come right out of your mouth. No lying. No hee-hawing around about it. Face it. Take responsibility for your position in law enforcement. Those were children's lives, and that means more than one officer's life. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. It's like when you join the military, you give your life to them. You have a position like that as an officer, a fireman, a first responder, in any way, shape, or form. You have to know that your life is nothing compared to 19 children, 2 adults. One kid is one kid too many. So I'm really praying for some peace and justice for these families. I can't imagine what they're going through. But one thing I do know, even though it is a tragedy that they could have saved more kids, I for some reason I keep thinking that I saw a video of that guy walking behind the school and going in that side door. Now, the way that I remembered it was that there were officers already there before he got in the building. That's the way I understood. That's what I saw. But I seen that on a video in the very beginning. Maybe I could try to find it. I can look in my history and see if I can find it.
The one who kept officers in the hallway and not saving those kids. And besides Salvador himself, who is obviously to blame for all of this, he is also to blame for more students dying after the police arrived. In a heartbreaking interview, one student said that an officer shouted from outside the classroom, "Yell if you need help." When a student near her yelled, "Help," Salvador turned around and shot them. There were students in the room who had already been shot and were alive but bleeding out. If police would have stormed the room immediately and gotten the students out of there and into ambulances, they very well could be alive today. One little girl from inside the classroom was interviewed and said that while her best friend was bleeding out next to her, she laid on top of her and covered herself in blood to play dead in hopes that she would not be shot as well. Her hair was...
Can you believe that? That's a smart little kid. This is terrible. That was a very smart kid.
Singed from the gunpowder, and she had bullet fragments in her arms that have still not been removed. One of the fathers who was outside of the door trying to get in to help was one who ended up losing a daughter in that classroom. Can you imagine how you would feel knowing you tried to get into that school but you couldn't? Those fathers said that they were willing to die trying to save their children. And as a parent, I believe them. I would have done the exact same thing.
And that's how that cop was supposed to feel. You know, I would give up my life for a little kid because a child is just a child. They have their whole life ahead of them. And I can only imagine what it's doing to these first responders. I can only imagine what this police officer is. Does he feel remorse that he screwed up? You know, if they would have stormed that schoolhouse, yeah, I'm sure we probably would have lost some kids, but nowhere near, I don't think we would have lost near what we did or what they did or however you want to word it. It's just, and I still don't know yet. Maybe she'll say, see, I heard that they arrested him. And then I heard again that they had shot him. So I'm not sure yet what the deal is.
And here's what some of the parents had to say.
Angel Garza's daughter Amory was just 2 weeks past her 10th birthday when he walked this path on Tuesday, dropping her off at school for what turned out to be the very last time.
She was the sweetest thing, dude. She's so creative. She just got an award for being the most creative.
Fourth grader, also.
I don't know what to do, man. She didn't deserve that.
No.
She didn't.
No, she didn't.
I just want to protect my little girl.
It was her 4th grade classroom where that 18-year-old gunman opened fire, killing Amory at the very moment her classmates say she was calling for help.
She tried to grab her phone and call the cops.
And as we spoke, we heard a sound from inside the house. Amory's mother, sobbing.
I think someone crying inside.
That's her mother.
Neither parent is sure what to tell her 3-year-old brother Zane.
Every morning he wakes up, he asks for his sister.
And Garza says it's just too painful for the family to stay where they are in an area so full of memories.
She always makes me laugh because, I mean, I love music and I listen to music all the time. But every time we pull up to that school and they're about to open her door, she makes sure to turn it down all the way because she gets embarrassed.
And while some parents find solace in the hope for change, Angel Garza is not one of them. At least not now.
Nothing's going to change. I mean, this always happens in the small town. Nobody expects anything bad to happen, and then it happens, and everybody wants to make changes and prevent it from happening, and then it dies down a little bit, and then it happens again, and then it's a cycle. I just want my baby home. I don't care. I don't care about anything else. I don't care about nothing at all.
Seriously, it is just the most gut-wrenching thing to watch. One mother was so resilient and brave that she wasn't
It is heart-wrenching.
letting the police dictate if she was going in that school or not. And that is the story of Angeli Rose Gomez. This mother drove almost 40 miles to the school when she heard what was going on. She was handcuffed temporarily by the police while both of her children were still inside that school. Then she somehow convinced somebody to take her handcuffs off. She went and she hopped the fence, went into that school, and brought her 2 children out safely. Literally, while 19 officers waited outside that classroom where Salvador was inside shooting the children, this brave woman who had previously been handcuffed by police not only jumped a fence to go in and gain access to the school, but was brave enough to withstand any shooter she was going to encounter, and she grabbed her 2 children and walked out the door safely. I'm sorry, police, but when civilians are doing your job better than you, it's probably time to do a little bit of self-reflection. If one of those officers' children were in that classroom, do you think that they...
Candace, I hope you see that. That is what a real mama does.
would have held back and waited for shields? Or do you think that they would have busted in and killed that coward right then and there? The kids in that class didn't have shields, as I mentioned, obviously. They had maybe a backpack, if that. Police officers take an oath to serve and protect, not serve and wait until shields arrive. To be honest, I know they were just taking orders, but at some point I find it crazy that not one of these 19 officers didn't just say, screw it, I'm going in, because there were shots still being fired. All it took was one person to go against the fray and to do the right thing. Also, if all they needed to get into the room was a key, any of the school administration had keys to every classroom, the office staff, the janitors, everyone. So I mean, seriously, there were other ways to get into the room, but waiting for a key for that long is just ridiculous, and it's a huge excuse and a huge cop-out. Break a window, shoot off the door handle. Hell, all 19 of you, grab a heavy table and bust the freaking door down. It just seems so absurd that it almost doesn't even seem real. There were literally parents outside of the school armed and ready to go in. And I can almost guarantee that those parents would have taken care of the problem much quicker than some of the police did that day. Maybe some parents would have lost their lives, but I think all parents can agree that we would much rather it be us than our babies laying dead on the floor. At this point, the community of Uvalde is rallying together in support of the families affected by this tragedy. All of the funeral expenses are going to be covered for the teachers and the students who lost their lives, and any financial expenses will be covered for people to travel to and from the area to be with their families. Mental health care and counseling, as well as food, money, really anything that the people suffering might need during this time is being taken care of. And while that's amazing, and I'm glad there is support and resources, none of that can repair the damage and pain and sorrow and grief that these families are going through and that they're going to continue to go through for a long time, if not forever. Even the surviving students who had to witness this carnage at their school, I can't imagine the trauma they experienced and how much therapy and support that they will need just to feel safe again. Imagine the children who were in those classrooms. There are literally no words. Salvador Ramos' father said in an interview that he just wishes his son would have just killed himself instead. And his mother said, "Forgive me, forgive my son."
No tengo palabras. No tengo palabras para decir, porque no sé lo que estaba pensando. Él tenía sus razones para hacer lo que hizo. Y por favor, no lo juzgan. Yo nomás quiero a los niños inocentes que se murieron. Perdóname.
¿Qué les dices a la familia de ellos?
Perdóname, perdóname, hijo. Yo sé, él tenía sus razones.
¿Qué razones pudo haber tenido?
A que se acercaran más a sus niños, en vez de poner atención en las otras cosas malas. Yo no tengo palabras, no sé. Era bien calladito, era bien callado, bien. He was himself. Él no le molestaba a nadie, él no le hacía nada a nadie.
I do feel sorry for the Ramos family as well, because even though it's
I do too. But I'm going to say this. What did his grandfather said, or his father said? Somebody said that they would have rather him taken himself out. I agree with that. As much of a terrible thing that people will say that is me saying about that guy. I still don't know if he's in jail or if he was shot by the police or what yet. We haven't got that far. But this brings me to my thing of guns do not kill people. People kill people. Criminals, if they want a gun, they are going to get it one way or the other. Just like if somebody wants to break into your house, it doesn't matter how many alarms and stuff you got, they will get in. Look at how many people has broken into movie stars' houses. You know they got alarms. When I was raised, I was always told that locks were for honest people. And yes, that may be a cruel way for me to look at that situation. But if somebody is that bad to where they want to go do something like that and they don't get help for the feelings and thoughts that they're having, I would have rather him taking care of it and taking himself out other than all these kids and these two teachers. 19 little kids. Jeez. Okay, now let's talk death penalty. Or would you rather pay to keep him in a mental institution or in prison? You want your tax dollars to go to that? Or do you want your tax dollars to go into making these schools safe once and for all? Because I can see the future of our kids going to school in a big place with barbed wire and a tower, just like a prison. Just like prison. Because you can't go anywhere anymore. I mean, even children, you say, don't walk alone. Walk with your friends. Stay in a group. All these things are not working anymore because it's kids killing kids now. It's our kids killing kids. They're friends. They're so-called friends. Family members. Cousin. All these kids. Aiden Fucci. Just all these kids killing other kids. And I blame a lot of it on I blame it on the parents, let's be honest. And I do blame it on the parents because this is your children. If it's your child, you should know what your child is doing. You should have a relationship with your child to where your child and you know each other and communicate and talk about your feelings and your thoughts. If you can't do that with your children, why do you have children? I know there's single parents and they work and work and work and work, but something's going to have to give here. If people that do things that deserve the death penalty. Just do it, get it over with, put our money into our children, our elderly, our veterans. We need to take care of who we need to take care of. 40 billion or trillion or whatever that Biden has give to Ukraine. I understand that they're having a war. I understand it's wrong. But you know what? We got problems over here too. And I think it's time. It's way past time. We need to take care of our own land. No one is going to take our gun rights away from us. They're going to do it. They're going to try. They're going to try. They're going to do everything they can. They're going to try it. But it ain't going to work because people, believe it or not, people still hunt their food. Believe it or not, they do. Deer hunting, turkey, pheasant. I mean, there are some people in this world, believe it or not, in the United States, that hunt daily or fish or something for their food. Or they have a ranch with chickens and pigs and have their own cows. I learned a lot living in Kansas, that's for sure. But this case here is definitely causing gun right issues. And I think that, this is just my opinion, but in order to have the money to make the United States of America's children safe, we've got to spend our money on them and not the criminal. It's got to stop. This has got to stop. I love Sheriff Grady Judd because he's got the same opinion I do. I have his opinion. Because there was a man, I believe it was today, or well, I may be yesterday now, who went, I believe it was he went on a stabbing spree. He might have been on a shooting spree, but he came to the front door, and the cops just shot him. They all shot him. So, I'll have to show you that video. That was pretty damn cool. No, I'm not mean. I'm just, I don't like putting up with the crap.
Easy to hate and put blame on them. At the end of their day, their son was considered an adult, and they will have to come to terms with their son being gone as well, and the fact that someone they thought they knew and loved was so evil inside and did such a horrific act. His grandmother will have to deal with a lifetime of emotional and physical damage and may never even talk again. Many of us may be wondering, why did he choose the elementary school? His peers have said that they wish that he would have chosen the high school instead, and that the young children didn't deserve this. And while no one deserves this, especially school-aged children, it's true that the babies of this world are our most innocent and precious members of society. Even high school students can see that they are the most vulnerable. In my opinion, Salvador had evil in him, and he wanted to prey on the easiest target because he was a coward and because he probably knew that there would be no resistance rather than if he were at a high school. And in some sick way, I think he knew that leaving a stain on something so pure would hurt everybody even more.
Yeah.
On Sunday, May 29th, President Biden and his wife visited Robb Elementary School alongside the Texas governor and the school principal to pay their respects to the teachers and students who lost their lives. He visited the parents and first responders, and as he was leaving, the crowd chanted, "Do something," to which he replied, "We will."
No,
I really hope that's
you
true
won't.
and that we can see an end to the horror of
Yeah.
mass shootings.
Try to
On
take
May
our guns
24th, in a
away.
speech to the American people, Biden said, "The idea that an 18-year-old kid can walk into a gun store and buy 2 assault weapons is just wrong. What in God's name do you need an assault weapon for except to kill people? Deers aren't running through the forest with vests on. For God's sake, it's just sick."
Yeah,
At the
well,
end of his
it
speech, he
is.
said, "It's time to turn this pain into action. It's time for those who obstruct, delay, or block common sense gun law."
I can't help it, but I
This is my
do
nephew,
agree
anyway.
with that.
But
Oh,
this is
no.
our true crime conversation where we talk about literally everything.
Uh-oh.
We talk about the good who lost their lives. He visited his parents
Hey.
and store and buy 2 assault weapons is just wrong. What in God's name do you need an assault weapon for except to kill people? Deers aren't running through the forest with vests on. For God's sake, it's just sick. At the end of his speech, he said, "It's time to turn this pain into action." In America, and another on the growing list of mass shootings in this country. While there are definitely going to be law changes and hopefully strengthening security in schools following the shooting, the fact is we say that every time something like this happens, and then again the next time, and again the next time. It's a cycle. So why does this keep happening? What has to give for something tangible to actually be done to stop this madness? I definitely don't have all the answers. I'm not even pretending to have the answers. And I really want to encourage a productive civil conversation with more ideas about what you guys think that we can do to help prevent mass shootings in the future. A couple of things I agree would help, for starters, is to raise the minimum age to at least 21, especially to purchase semi-automatic weapons, maybe even guns in general and ammunition. Require background checks, even from unlicensed dealers, on all gun sales and trades. Prohibit selling guns on websites like Facebook. Require all sales of guns, even private sales or trading, to transfer registration. Establish threat assessment programs in school and more red flag laws for those deemed mentally unstable or who have active restraining orders against them. Determine if students displaying certain behaviors have access to guns. Have more strict enforced laws out there for locking up guns in the home with minors. And require every school in the United States to have updated security measures put in place, including the exterior and interior doors, and making sure that all interior doors remain locked at all times. Locking automatically when they close, strict rules against doors being propped open, and more training for teachers and students for active shooter situations.
And I
Starts
say,
are typically fun for students. They're
shoot, I did it again. It is, education is key to fixing this problem. Let's see if I can
against them.
get this.
Determine if students displaying certain behaviors have access to guns. Have more strict enforced laws out there for locking up guns in the home with minors. And require every school in the United States to have updated security measures put in place, including the exterior and interior doors, and making sure that all interior doors remain locked at all times. Locking automatically when they close, strict rules against doors being propped open, and more training for teachers and students for active shooter situations. I know I just rambled and it was a laundry list, but that's just a few ideas that I hope that we can see changes in and possibly get rolling. But let me know your thoughts as well, because more minds are better than one. Like I said in my last video, there have been 214 mass shootings in America so far in 2022. That is just intolerable. I hope that the people in power can see and feel this and make the corrections needed to end these things from happening once and for all. Thank you guys for listening this far, and now I'm going to add some information on who you can contact if you see or hear any information that you think needs to be reported. Even if you think it's insignificant, trust your gut. If you see something, say something. It very well could save lives.
I always say that. I always say, trust your gut. Don't listen to your head, because your head will make you think all kinds of weird things. Make you think things that, maybe this guy is a good guy. Or, don't listen to your heart, because your heart should say, oh, but he's a good person. I love him, or whatever. But your gut is telling you something's not right. Something ain't right with this guy. Well, or you see somebody that you think looks sneaky, suspicious, whatever. You need to be aware of your surroundings. From what I understand, the teacher that left that door open so she could get cupcakes out of her car and into her classroom seen him coming and called 911. So from that time when she called, it wasn't even her call that Annie was talking about. It was one of the kids' calls, I believe. But 80 minutes, over an hour. Do you know how much damage that guy could have done in an hour? Now, I don't know if he's dead or if he's been arrested yet. Did I miss it? Let's find out. I don't know.
I'm also going to show the most important people involved in this case, the teachers and the beautiful children who lost their lives. Some who had just received awards for honor roll, kids who were so excited for summer break and who had their entire lives ahead of them, children who were so loved. My thoughts and my prayers go out to all of the children who survived, and my deepest condolences to those families who have loved ones who are lost. I am going to do my best to pronounce all of these names. I don't want to do any disrespect, but I do think it's important to name these lives lost, and I'm going to do my best to do right by them. Nevaeh Alyssa Bravo, Jacqueline Cazares, McKenna Lee Elrod, Jose Manuel Flores Jr., Elena Garcia, Isaiah Garcia, Emery Joe Garza, Xavier Lopez, Jace Carmelo Luvanos, Tess Mata, Miranda Mathis, Alethea Ramirez, Annabelle Rodriguez, Mike Rodriguez, Alexandria Rubio, Layla Salazar, Jalea Nicole Salguero, Elena Cruz Torres, Andrew Ojeo Torres, Irma Garcia, Eva Morales. May everybody who was killed in this senseless, ruthless tragedy please rest in peace. And everybody who was affected directly and indirectly by this, our thoughts and prayers are with you. Thanks for tuning in today, guys. I will keep you updated as soon as we know more on this case. Until the next one, stay safe. Bye.
Oh, thank you, Annie Elise. You did a great job. She did a great job. Hi, Janet. How are you? I haven't seen you in a long time. Are you up early to go to work? The sun is coming up. It's 6:17 in the morning here. Okay, that didn't take as long as I thought it would. Let's see. I think I'm going to look for something else real quick. Let's see. Go over here to my history. Okay. There it is. Wait. Shoot. I'm going to have to go back on here. I got to share my screen again. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Shoot. Ooh. That's weird. Okay, hang on. All right.
Everyone, thank you for being with me while I give you some initial information about an active shooter that occurred in this mobile home park and our immediate response to that active shooter. It's important for you to understand, and I underscore, this is preliminary information, and anything I tell you is...
I love this guy.
subject to modification as the investigation unfolds. The information I present to you tonight is just like we always do, to make sure it's timely, but it's not going to be complete because there's a lot of investigation still underway. It all occurred about 6:07 p.m. when we received a 911 call from a lady who said she was the wife of Michael Lohman, who's a 56-year-old white male. She said Michael Lohman was threatening to kill himself and threatening to kill all the deputies. Our deputies immediately raced to the scene. When we arrived, there were neighbors out in the community. Our 911 operator clearly indicated to the deputies that now one of our victims, the wife of the suspect, was outside. Deputies found her hiding behind a black pickup truck. So they moved her to safety behind a large tree. Now, why is all this important? Because she told our 911 operator he has been outside shooting, and he shot in the house, and he just came back into the house saying that he needed to reload because he was going to kill her and all of the deputies when they arrived. So once they hid her behind a very large oak tree, the deputies took up tactical positions. Michael came out of the house with his long gun, his rifle in hand. And when he did that, we shot him a lot. And that was the end of the gunfight.
We shot him a lot. He's so funny. I mean, I know, yeah, I'm laughing at that, but it's the way he said it. And I like him. He don't put up with nothing.
The investigation's underway. We had 5 deputies that made the initial response. They all arrived at the same time. They all ran immediately to the threat, knowing that they were facing a man that told them, I'm going to kill them when they arrive. They ran to the threat anyway. They saved the woman. They got her out of the line of fire. After the shooting was over with, we had neighbors say, yeah, he came out and was shooting early, just before y'all arrived. And we heard the bullets whizzing by us. And then he went back inside, and that's when he told his wife he was reloading and getting ready for the deputies when they arrived. So, you know the information that we know at this point. We have the state attorney's office here to do a neutral and detached investigation. There'll be a medical examiner's investigation. We have an administrative investigation by our policy and practices unit. And then we're doing our investigation with the folks from our criminal homicide team. So all of these different investigations will come together. We will release more information to you on Monday. But at this point in time, clearly and unequivocally, our deputies rushed into an active shooter, was able to successfully move the lady to a safe position before he came out of the house, and that's when we engaged him and shot him, and we neutralized the threat.
A lot.
Are there any questions? There were 5 deputies that responded. 4 had tactical positions to shoot. It appears right now all of them shot with their AR-15s, and we don't know how many shots. That's under investigation, and we'll know that later in the evening or maybe tomorrow. No one else was hit with the gunfire. He shot in the neighborhood. We have neighbors who said they actually heard the bullets whiz past them, but no one was hit. There were other people that were outside at the time of the shooting. We even have information that one child back toward this end of the mobile home park ran through the mobile home park to get out of the way as the gunfire erupted. And we're checking to see whether or not he discharged the weapon, his weapon first, or whether he only brandished it, and that's when we shot, based upon all the information we had. And I can tell you, the wife was a remarkable help to us, because we could hear him screaming on the 911 call, I'm going to kill them all. I'm going to take them out. So at the end of the day, clearly and unequivocally, they knew that they were running into a potential gunfight. We know that our suspect has one previous felony arrest that was drug related. We also know he has three previous misdemeanor arrests. And it's important to point out that we were told that he had been drinking alcoholic beverages this evening. That is still under investigation. We were told that. We've got to confirm that through our investigation.
Sheriff, was there any time when he left the building?
Anyway, let's put that in. Okay, there we go. Oh, all this equipment. Welcome back, Laura Croft, Janet, and Aussie. Oh, there's 5 in here. Woohoo! No, I'm learning this stuff, but that was just so amazing to me. Thank you, Sheriff Grady Judd, and Elise. If you guys don't watch her, go over there and check her out. She's really good. She gets a lot of information. She presents it well, and I enjoy her content. But I mean, I knew something was wrong about this case. It's just, it took too long. It took way too long. It should have took 80 seconds, not 80 minutes. You know what I mean? I can't wait to see what they find. They better not try to scapegoat it or deflect it or anything like that, because anymore, they realize social media, people are going to see that. And I don't think they're going to let them get away with it. I just don't think so. But thank you. And like I said before to Annie Elise, if you choose to strike my channel for me using your video and doing some commentary on it, it was well worth it. I wish I hadn't screwed it up so bad. But I think it's important for everybody to know, the real truth, not just all this stuff that they try to feed you. It's important. And just rest in peace, babies. I pray for their parents. I couldn't imagine what they're going through. It's don't let this be for nothing, though. Something has to come out of this. You can't let lives be lost this way without a purpose. There has to be a purpose there is a purpose for it. I know that there is. But there has to, I don't see how they can rebuild that school without doing a lot of making a lot of changes, because these kids, I mean, that things like this happen, and people don't believe in spirits, and this school is probably going to be full of spirits now. And it's because it was sudden, tragic, and they were young. And they don't realize sometimes when children die, even adults, well, sometimes when they die in a sudden way like this, sometimes they don't realize it, they don't understand it, and they're stuck. And it's just my beliefs and my knowledge of spirit that that school is going to need to be cleansed of the children that's left behind, so that they can be freed. And if not, years from now, they'll be saying they hear things or see things, or it just happens. And I would like to not see that happen. I don't want to see them stuck here reliving it every day. But I do appreciate the commentary, the video for commentary. I just wanted to push out that message of what's going on down there, because there's been so many shootings. I mean, it's just like every day it's somewhere. It's in New York, it's in Texas, and we had one here in Tulsa, which I have that information too. I'll show you that in another video. But thank you for joining me. I guess I'm trying to learn stuff, so maybe I'll do another live stream in a little while, and I'll cover the one in Tulsa. But you guys have a good day. Maybe I will see you back in a little while. Maybe not. But you guys have a good evening or a good day. See you guys. Bye.